Hey, Andrew Malcolm here, Mortgage HQ, and today I'm going to talk about the reasons I am not buying any cryptocurrencies and why I'm doing my best to ignore any Bitcoin news.
Now, at its peak, if you had invested $1,000 a year in passive.
The first thing I want to say is I got a lot of friends and close acquaintances and people that I like and trust that are definitely keen on cryptocurrency. There's a lot of information and a lot of talk in the news about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin at the moment. So it's pretty easy to let that information come into your sphere and let it distract you. But I'm going to cover all the reasons why I think cryptocurrency at the moment for a lot of investors, especially the mum and dad property investors, is a really bad idea to get into. Firstly, cryptocurrencies, if you're doing it safely and you're doing it in the traditional way, there's no leverage. And if you're leveraging to buy cryptocurrencies, you got to be really, really confident of your bet. From my point of view, leveraging into cryptocurrencies is kind of like borrowing money and going to the casino. Sure, you could win, and a lot of people actually would win if 100 people borrowed money, went to casino and played one round of blackjack. 40 to 50 people of those 100 that borrowed the money are going to win, but a lot of people are going to not only have lost the money they borrowed, they're going to be now at a negative position. So the reason I don't like cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin is there's no leverage, and if I have, say, 50,000 of savings, I can leverage that up through property investment and buy like a $250,000 rental property, and that takes me to the next point. With the leverage on the property, get the capital gains. If you're not leveraging into Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, you don't get the same benefit of $250,000 of capital gains versus the $50,000 you would get on the crypto. Now that takes me to my next point: is there's no income. So yes, Bitcoin has probably gone from $500 to $50,000 in the last little wee while. So the capital gains or gains through that period has been extremely huge. And if you've been involved in Bitcoin or any of the other cryptocurrencies, well, most of the other cryptocurrencies for 5 or 10 or 15 years since their inception, you've done very well. But for most of the people that are getting into cryptocurrencies today or recently or in the short future, you really got to ask yourself, are you investing at the high point? Is it a midpoint? Is it a low point? Whilst you're putting your money into it, you're not getting any income out of it. If you invest in businesses, you invest in property, you invest in the share market, you're going to be able to generate and pick assets that give you income. With cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, it's kind of like investing in gold. And you might have heard some investors say why they don't buy gold is because there's no income. Now, cryptocurrencies are extremely volatile and speculative at the moment. So the people that say that they're not speculative are the ones that are projecting out 10, 20, 30 years and saying like crypto, that's the future. And maybe they're right. But at the moment, the trading volumes and the figures that you're seeing, they're highly volatile. They're going up and down. As much as some normal shares go up and down in a year, some cryptocurrencies are doing in the space of a week. So if you are investing in crypto or like Bitcoin, you really want to make sure that you're comfortable sleeping at night where you're potentially down by 20, 30, 40% margin from when you invested. You could invest at 10 a.m. and by 10 p.m. you could have lost 30-40% of your money, and you've got to be willing to ride that out for months and years to go. Now, I say that it's speculative in the sense that the justification of Bitcoin or of a lot of the cryptocurrencies that are out there, especially the altcoins, is they're speculating on what's the use and what's the value going to be. It's not set in stone. When you take a house, the value of that house is it provides shelter, can provide income, it's a tangible asset. Whereas you take some of these cryptocurrencies, it's very hard to pin down exactly what is the purpose and what is the reason for having that cryptocurrency that another form of currency is not currently meeting. New Zealand dollars, American dollars, those types of currency already satisfactorily meet what they need to in most cases for the transfer of goods, or when you're buying something, the problem is already solved. So you gotta ask. In a lot of cases, you gotta ask, why is cryptocurrency being promoted over and above a solution that's already working? It might not be perfect, but is the value difference big enough? And that's what you're speculating on. Now, at the moment, one of the reasons I'm not investing in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies is I'm fully allocated in asset classes I'm already comfortable with. Property, business. I'm looking at things that I know and understand, that I've seen. There's 200-300 years of history that I know are successful ways to allocate capital, and that's what I'm putting my money into. So I either got to sacrifice one of those investments by pulling money out and putting it into cryptocurrency, or I've got to use my savings, my emergency fund, which in either example I'm not prepared to do, and I certainly wouldn't be borrowing to invest in cryptocurrencies. Now, another reason I'm not interested in cryptocurrencies is the way that I see my investing is similar to the way that Warren Buffett has described it, is you only really need 10 good investments in your life and you can become financially free. You can be a successful investor. Now, if I've got 10 chances to make good investments in the next, say, 50 years, from when I'm early 30s to mid 80s, assuming I live that long, why would I want to burn one of my investment opportunities on something that I'm not sure about? So if you're extremely certain and sure, and you can argue both for and against cryptocurrencies, and you know that they're going to be successful beyond all reasonable doubt, then for sure go for it. But I've read a lot of literature about it in the past, and I'm not confident enough that I'm willing to be an early adopter into Bitcoin or the other cryptocurrencies. Therefore, I wait and I invest in other things that I know more about. Now that takes me to the next point, where at the moment, especially recently, the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin has become pretty low barrier to entry. So when you take property or buying businesses, relatively speaking, they're a bit harder to get into because you need capital and you need to be able to execute transactions and get debt. Whereas crypto, you can basically do it all online. I'm sure within half an hour you could have quite a bit of cryptocurrency in your account, and then you buy a wallet and you get that offline. So I've seen a lot of people at the gym. There's one guy in my gym, he's wearing an ankle bracelet. He's talking about cryptocurrency. The guy that owns my gym, friend of mine, he's talking a lot about cryptocurrency. Like, the barriers to entry of owning cryptocurrency at the moment extremely low, even though it's still in that early adopter phase. I just worry that low barrier to entry is what is pushing those prices up and forming a bubble. Maybe I'm wrong. That takes me to probably the most important reason why I'm not investing in cryptocurrencies. Even though I know probably a lot more than most about it, I don't know that much compared to the people that know heaps about it. So I don't understand it, and I see that there's a chance that my cryptocurrency investments, if I made them, could go to zero. I can see that governments around the world could make it illegal. I could see that my wallet could get lost or stolen. I could see that crypto exchanges or the blockchain itself could get hacked. That might sound like an impossibility, but if you went back 30 years and said this is what blockchain and Bitcoin's going to be, they would have said that's impossible. And now with the developments in the machine learning and AI, I don't think it's impossible that blockchains could get hacked. So, I don't understand that world. It's easier for me to not play. It's easier for me to stay into property. It's easier for me to stay in business investing. I've got my FOMO under control. That's the key takeaway here is I'm happy to sit on the sidelines, hear about it, miss out on massive gains, and just know that my investing is in asset classes that I understand and I like, and I'm happy to trust the process and the history of it, and that even if all my friends invest in cryptocurrency and make heaps of money and I don't, I'm comfortable with wearing that risk, knowing that what I'm doing by not investing in crypto is protecting my family from the downside that I can see. I'm happy to be investing in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin once it becomes it gets past this point where it's clearly going to be adopted by mainstream. At the moment, I still feel that it's quite an early adopter phase, and maybe Bitcoin in the next couple of months is going to go to 100k, and then maybe within 5 years it's 1 million, and then it becomes mainstream. I'm happy to miss out on all of that because I'm confident of being in that that middle stage, that I'm still going to be one of the first investors when it starts to go mainstream. Relatively speaking, Bitcoin is still a very, very small part of the global financial market, and in terms of investment opportunities, it definitely gets a lot more news than it should compared to, say, buying businesses or properties. It's just the talk of the town at the moment because it's such a hot, it's been doing so damn well. So you got to decide for yourself, okay, do I understand Bitcoin enough that I'm confident it's not going to go to zero and that I'm not going to be the last patsy to sit at the table? If I do invest in crypto, then am I happy to not invest in businesses that produce the income? Am I happy to not leverage and buy property investment that I'm pretty sure is going to stick around as a good investment for the next 50 years? If you're sure about crypto, then go for it. But for me, I've got enough reasons why I'm unsure, so I'm happy to sit and wait.